As the first model in Hyundai's Ioniq sub-brand, the Ioniq 5 is built on a dedicated electric platform called the eGMP. The wider group has launched several cars on the platform and plenty of them have won rich admiration. The bold, retro-inspired Ioniq 5 design sets it apart, while features like the 800-volt architecture, bidirectional charging, and a variety of tech-forward amenities make it a versatile option for both daily driving and long-distance travel. So let's get into it. The Ioniq 5 is 182.5 inches long, 74.4 inches wide, and 63 inches tall. It has a wheelbase of 118.1 inches and a ground clearance of 6.1 inches. The Ioniq 5 offers 27.2 cubic feet behind the row 2 and has a very small front trunk of 0.85 cubic feet. The rear wheel drive gets the 19-inch wheels with the 235/55 R19 tires, while the all-wheel drive gets the 20-inch wheels with the 255/45 R20 tires. The all-wheel drive is available in the higher two trims, the Limited and the Platinum edition. I'll leave a link to the complete specs in the description as always, and strongly urge viewers to check and confirm all of those independently. This particularly so prior to any decision of consequence. The Ioniq 5 is referred to as a 800 volt class car with an actual pack voltage that's 522.7 volts in the 58 kilowatt hour smaller battery and 697 volts in the 77.4 kilowatt hour larger battery. The Ioniq 5 is basically a car with a rear wheel bias. Its front motor in an all-wheel setup has a mechanical disconnect that brings in the front motor only when needed and for the rest of the time maintains the drive system on the rear motor. A very efficient setup. For a perspective in numbers, when the rear motor is delivering 221 horsepower, the connected front motor adds an additional 99 horsepower to the drive system as needed, making it 320 horsepower in all. The charger location of the Ioniq 5 is on the passenger side rear, and the charger has a powered door. It charges at 10.9 kilowatt AC or around 45 amps on paper. The 800 volt pack charges fast on DC if given the right and capable charger. The very interesting feature in the Ioniq 5 is the rear inverter that can accept power through a 400 volt charger and boost it to 800 volt to match its battery, a kind of a booster. Hyundai has not opted for the split pack design that splits the pack into two in parallel to work with a 400 volt charger. Remember, the voltages are almost always approximate and in the real world numbers can differ. The actual voltages on its two battery packs are 522.7 and 697 volts. I have observed that makers start referring to their cars as 800 volt on numbers that simply exceed 500. The Kia EV9 is another example of this. The industry implies these as 800 volt class of cars. Just another reminder to the viewers for the subtle misrepresentation. The Ioniq 5 is a fabulous charger if given the required power. Besides, it's also been the earliest in announcing a native NACS port, and that should be interesting. The Ioniq 5 has square accents on its full LED headlights. The top two trims have the projector headlights with a slightly different design in the base model. At the bottom are grille shutters with a silver strip that contains the illuminated lashes. Truly interesting design. The silver accent over the wheels too has some interesting lashes. All models have full LED taillights and red turn signals. The taillights have two modules with one on the body and the other on the hatch. On the whole, the Ioniq 5 appears like a well-designed car on the exterior, with what seems like carefully set tiles in interesting shapes and a very sharp look. The rear cargo has given up its usability in the form of lost squared space to the aerodynamic demands of the car. It's 27.2 cubic feet but could have got more usable. It has some useful understorage that is divided by an unusually placed subwoofer. You can find a tire repair kit and some useful space never the same. The 0.85 cubic feet front trunk is really small. To make that bigger with the given length of the car, it would have had to take some space from the rear cargo, something that Hyundai has not opted for. The front seat does not have a 4-way lumbar support but instead a power extending ottoman and a huge seat recline, almost flattening it towards the rear seat. It has a 4-way adjustable headrest and a very comfortable driver and passenger seat. The legroom is ample and you can use the rear seat for a child seat comfortably. The seats have imitation leather in the front, fabric in the back, and have moderate bolstering. The doors have some minimal styling with soft touch material in the middle of the door and the armrest, and harder plastics at the bottom. The trim in the middle appears of stone-like design with some pattern painted over it. It has a large dashboard with a very deep glove box. It has horizontal lines and a vent at the corner. It has two identical screens, each of 12.3 inches. The screens have the big vents underneath. Below the vents are some physical buttons, one for the start stop, some for the infotainment system, and some for climate control just underneath. There is an open space over the load floor with a little socket and a USB port along with the 12-volt socket. It is a stretch to reach though. The other 12.3 inches LCD screen is placed as a conventional instrument cluster. The system offers three themes for the appearance of either of the screens. The themes can be configured to the drive mode selector, the button for which is available on the steering wheel. The cluster contains the trip computer, turn-by-turn directions, tire pressure gauge, and some information on the all-wheel drive and the active safety system. The large center console has two large cup holders up front with two charge-only ports, a wireless charging mat with some very deep storage that's adjacent to the armrest. That armrest opens up for more storage and folds back completely to enhance the access to the deep storage in front. It has two USB charge ports with a fairly simple rear console with a small storage underneath. The legroom in the rear has surely improved a bit with the console extending in the rear. The rear seats have a recline function and a fairly usable one for that. The steering has a slightly thick upper portion and a thinner portion at the bottom and middle. The headlight and turn signals are on the stalk on the left, while the right stalk is for the windshield wiper. Beneath the right stalk is an equally large third one, that's the gear shifter. Its visibility is better from the driver's position. Behind the steering are the regen paddles. The regen can be decreased with the paddle on the right and increased with the one on the left. On the left of the steering are the programmable buttons, with the volume, track forward and back, etc. on the left, and the ADAS controls along with the buttons for the instrument cluster on the right. The suspension tuning is excellent in the Ioniq 5. It handles the roads extremely well. Even with the 20-inch wheels, the Ioniq 5 feels tremendously confident and skillful. If you are comparing the ride quality, every extra inch of ground clearance is going to make it feel better. Fast EVs with smaller ground clearance have lesser room to dam the car's motions in. Always a luxury for big battery EVs. Sporty EVs always feel that much more firm and bouncy. The ride is also fairly quiet and the car seems to have done well controlling the tire and wind noise. That's impressive with the 255 tires, which are wider than the 235s in my Tesla. When accelerating, the Ioniq 5 hits its full power around the speed of 35 miles per hour, pretty much similar to most comparable cars out there. Surely many out there would love a more rapid and sporty ramp up of power that also leads to impressive performance numbers. But it's wise to have lesser strain on the drivetrain components, for which the more gradual ramp up is better. The motors have variable power in a dual motor configuration. The rear motor is twice as powerful. Though in slower speeds, the two motors will divide the work roughly equally. It will still naturally be a more rear biased vehicle. The all-wheel drive offers the heat pump and that makes the car efficient in comparison to the resistive element options. Moving heat from the outside to the inside instead of generating it is orders of magnitude more efficient. That's a much lesser loss of range in colder climates, and heat pumps are now pretty much standard. Having said that, I expect the efficiency of the Ioniq 5 to be around 3 miles per kilowatt hour, and it should deliver around 225 miles in a single charge in 70 miles per hour highway range. That's fairly usable, but of course everything would boil down to the availability of chargers in the end. Hyundai does display the live energy consumption data, but not the cumulative figures. Tesla does that, and it is useful to know how your car is consuming energy on the whole. These are fairly acceptable numbers, but nothing out of the world though. And I feel the increasing competition, besides the Hyundai Ioniq 6 itself, should far outweigh these numbers. The Ioniq 6 could go way over with 300 miles of highway range. The Hyundai Ioniq 5 offers basic driver assistance systems like traffic-aware cruise control, lane keeping and collision warnings. It also offers parking assistance, and these are very much standard now in the industry. It also offers regenerative braking and electronic stability control, also pretty much standard now. The features in the Ioniq 5 may differ by trim in terms of availability. If you would like to see my driving impressions of the Tesla CyberTruck dual motor all-wheel drive, you can check that video here or via its link in the description. See you in the next one.